Good afternoon. This is Friday, July 12th, 2024. And my name is Molly Helmstetter. I'm the Director of Development at New Hope Ministries. And this is our HOME-ARP Supportive Services public meeting. We are recording this meeting. It will be available for replay on our YouTube channel, which will be linked in our website and on social media so that folks who weren't able to be here live during the recording time can access it at any time. Questions related to the HOME-ARP Supportive Services application that New Hope Ministries is applying for will be accepted for public comment through Monday, July 22nd at 3 p.m. And we'll repeat that again at the end of this public meeting. If anybody joins the session, they are encouraged to sign in as attendants using the chat with their name. And if there are any questions, as well as people join, they are welcome to put those into the chat and they will be answered at the end of the meeting. This again is the public meeting for our application, and joining us on the call are our Executive Director Eric Saunders and Program Director Sue Fornicola. And I'm going to start by asking Sue to talk a little bit about New Hope Ministries and our history, specifically with our housing program and the other good work that we do here at New Hope. Sue?
Sure. Thank you, Molly. As Molly said, my name is Sue Fornicola, and I'm the Program Director here at New Hope, and I've had the privilege for the past 16 years to work with many of our guests and have been able to watch lives transformed and changed. Our mission statement is a Christian social service agency that shows the love and hope of Christ by serving our neighbors in need and supporting their efforts towards stability. And I believe so much in what we do here on a daily basis that helps transform lives. As people come through, most people think of New Hope, oh yeah, that's the food pantry. And although we do serve food and we are very honored and blessed to be able to do so to help our neighbors in need, when they come through the door, they get to see that New Hope does a whole lot more than just serve food. And if you're in and you may need help with workforce, and some of our workforce team may help you get a job or go into one of our awesome workforce training programs, we all know that that will help you become stable as well as you're being able to provide for your family. And with our transportation program, we're also able to help you whether it's fix a vehicle or to use one of our Hope Rides vehicles, or to be able to repair the vehicle that you may, need to get back and forth to work. And as we continue with this, we talk a lot about housing. When our guests come through our door, many of them are without permanent housing. And our goal is to help them break those barriers. And it might be by providing 1 month's rent security. It may be helping them locate a place. They may already have a place, but have no means to get in. That's the privilege that we get to walk beside them to help them become permanent housing. And if you can imagine being out in the heat in this type of weather, sleeping in your car. And many of our guests come to us that way. They are sleeping in their car. They don't have a roof over their heads. Yes, they have a car, but that's not where our guests need to be housed. And we need to be able to help them, whether they have children, whether it's how many in their families. You can imagine sleeping in a vehicle would not be the way that we'd want to go. So we want to do everything we can to help them get into permanent housing. We've been able to help over 200 families this past year, fiscal year, into permanent housing. And we call that an honor and a blessing to be able to walk beside someone. And the one thing that we love to do with each of our guests when we get permanent housing for them is to give them a mat that says home sweet home. And each of them look at that every time they walk across it. They have that privilege to say, yes, this is my home. And any other barriers that they may come across, they just need to reach out to New Hope. We're going to do everything we can to walk beside them, to help them, encourage them. And any barrier that they may have, we're going to do the same to figure out a way. How can we help you stay in your home, be able to meet the needs for you and your family, and to know that New Hope is here, walking right beside you. And I feel honored and blessed every day that I get to do this and help see lives changed on a regular basis.
Thanks, Sue. Appreciate you sharing a little bit of the history and why we do what we do. So at this point, we'll turn it over to Eric, and Eric will be talking specifically about the application that New Hope is putting forth and what our intention is overall with the funds through this program if awarded, and including the amount that New Hope will be asking for. Eric?
Great. Thank you, Sue. Thank you, Molly.
You're welcome.
And I greet everybody who's going to be able to watch this video, and would again invite those questions and comments that you may have on how we can serve housing needs for folks in the region where New Hope provides its programs and services. I'd like to show just some visuals that will help people understand some of the work that New Hope does, and probably just adding to some more background. New Hope Ministries is a faith-based social service agency, a nonprofit organization in South Central Pennsylvania, and we are serving the York, Adams, and Cumberland County region. And you can see in this map that's being displayed that we have 9 blue dots on this map, soon to be a 10th, but those 9 are our physical service locations, and they represent some of the communities of greatest need within that 3-county area. And so we are privileged to be able to help with a variety of human service needs, but in particular, housing. So again, just by way of background, New Hope Ministries has been meeting housing needs, helping people avoid eviction and homelessness for many years, but we've seen a spike in demand for services and assistance over the last several years, particularly in the post-COVID period, as we've seen cost of housing and basic needs rise and the amount of affordable housing significantly diminish. And it tends to put the greatest pressure on those who are the most financially vulnerable and have other risk factors. And so we have been fortunate to be able to leverage various funding programs, both public and private, to be able to address the housing service needs. And unfortunately, as I'll illustrate here in a second, we have not been able to keep pace with the demand for service that we're experiencing. And so this is just a snapshot over the last 3 months. We're waiting for our fourth quarter service reports. But in the January to March timeframe, we had 150 households almost that were helped with housing needs, either who were experiencing homelessness and needed emergency service, or rehousing, or those who were in danger of eviction and becoming homeless. And so you'll see that was a 22% increase, which we thought the previous year was a record period of serving that population in need. And those are a reflection of those that we were actually able to provide assistance to. And if you extrapolate that over 4 quarters in a year, we are close to 600 families or households that are having to come to us to have help. And I would suggest that that's only a fraction of the need that exists just within our local service area.
Yeah.
And those needs show up as Sue mentioned, families living in their cars, people who are staying in campgrounds, people who are sleeping outdoors, sometimes in the steps of our very buildings. And our goal is to try to link these folks with a housing support system through our continuum of care and through the services provided by us, with government entities, as well as other nonprofit organizations. As I mentioned, we have been fortunate to be able to take advantage of a number of other housing streams, including some previous HOME-ARP, which stands for American Recovery Program funds, and have been able to quickly move those funds that were provided to address recovery efforts into the hands of families who are most vulnerable and need them the most. We were very excited to learn about this particular program that our meeting is about today. And as I'll indicate and give you specific details, this is the American Rescue Plan Supportive Service Grant Program. And this is available through Pennsylvania's Department of Community and Economic Development. It is an application that will be closing here shortly, and we believe that we're a good candidate to be able to apply for these funds. There are $73 million of funds that are available specifically to address housing needs and homeless needs in the state of Pennsylvania. And we believe that the York, Adams, and Cumberland areas where our agency provides services are areas of particular need and could really, our communities could really use some of this federal support and state support that's been made available. So we're incredibly available for the opportunity to compete for this funding. We think that we've got a great case for support, and we want to make sure that we hear from any entities and individuals who would like to advise us on how those funds could be best spent to be able to increase housing stability in our communities. We would be very grateful for that. As you can see in the application paperwork, funds are available to help qualifying populations, which include those who are homeless, those who are at risk of homelessness, certainly victims of domestic violence and human trafficking, and other populations. We believe that although any of those could be included, our primary population focus would be those who are homeless and at risk of becoming homeless. And again, to provide additional information, we are an eligible applicant as a nonprofit organization here in the state of Pennsylvania. You can see that highlight. And we qualify under the types of projects. In particular, we are going to be asking for support for supportive services. And you'll see these 6 highlighted areas. Some of the areas that our agency specializes include offering case management and support for those who are in housing crisis. We are not a mental health service provider, and so that won't be a primary area of use of grant funds for us. We do provide some extensive transportation services, and those are available for program participants, but we're not anticipating utilizing grant funds for transportation. We will, however, do the housing search. We are not HUD certified counselors and will not be providing housing counseling under that definition of service, although there will be some informal housing search and supportive services. But some of the things that our programs are already doing well and would benefit from increased funding from include forming relationships with local landlords, helping people to come up with a list of criteria for housing that would best meet their needs, and then matching them to available housing, as well as providing advocacy to give people with less than stellar credit or rental histories an opportunity to compete for some market price housing. And we've been very successful at being able to find, as Sue mentioned, over 200 families over the last 12 months with housing. Again, one of the biggest limiting factors has not been, we found, the availability of housing. We've got very supportive partners in our landlords, and community organizations. Our biggest factor, of course, has been financial resources to be able to assist the number of people who are coming to us for help. Finally, we think that one of the biggest needs for this funding will be for financial assistance, particularly for move-in costs as well as rental assistance, and in particular, several months of rent as people are becoming, as they are becoming housing stable. We absolutely subscribe to the housing first philosophy. We believe that the first best cure of homelessness is a home, and that the supporting services are best delivered once you've met somebody's security needs of getting them into housing. A couple of things I would also highlight for just to understand this program and how New Hope fits into it. I'm looking for one other category. All right, just to move on. If there's something else, I will come back to it. But as we've educated ourselves on this program, we feel like that New Hope is a great recipient for these funds, particularly because this is work that is already being done, and we can demonstrate that there is increased need for support. New Hope is very fortunate to have received county-based HOME-ARP funds in the past, and will have also received public funds through the Community Development Block Grant Program and the Emergency Solutions Grant Program, so that we believe that we are a qualified entity who will be successful in this work. So what we're going to do, you know, it's critically important for us that we have the support of our community. There is a network of local foundations, support from our local United Ways, through local churches, and individuals of good conscience in the community who believe in the importance of helping their neighbors and have recognized New Hope's housing programs for the success that they have. We are asking for what seems like an astronomical sum. We're going to ask for $500,000. And this grant period we would have 24 months to spend these funds. And so our intention is to make them last and to use them over a 2-year period. So, you know, looking at how do you spend $250,000, New Hope had housing expenditures over the last year of nearly $1 million. And so this is, you know, although it's a significant amount of new funding, it actually replaces some of those other funds that are lost so that we can simply maintain the level of housing support that we've been providing for the community. There are so many people who are struggling to find housing right now, and they may be working, they may have jobs, they may have, you know, but they're having to sleep in their car. And for us to be able to just get them over the hump of getting them into permanent housing with some first month's rent, security deposit, maybe some episodic rental assistance, is going to be a life-changing and stabilizing influence for these families in need. I would close with this. There are many ways that folks in our community can partner with us. There are so many organizations who identify folks who are in need of housing help, who are sending them our way, and we are delighted to be able to accept those referrals, to work with those organizations, churches, et cetera, to be able to take advantage of the services and supports that they can offer. Certainly financial assistance is needed from all sources. Material and other forms of service are definitely needed by these folks. We partner with furniture providing organizations and many others so that we can offer a full range of supports. But as folks that I'm talking to interact with people who are experiencing homelessness in the community or in danger of becoming homeless, we hope that having a little bit more knowledge about New Hope's case management, housing support programs, and rehousing programs will give you enough knowledge to send folks to New Hope, knowing that they're going to be helped with professionalism, with compassion and care, and to let everybody know it would be our privilege to be able to serve our neighbors in need. Molly, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Thanks, Eric. Appreciate that. And Sue as well for all the information here shared. In the chat, there's information about the HOME-ARP program, supportive services, that's linked. And at this point of the meeting agenda, we would be accepting questions and any comment. At this point, we do not see any. However, as a reminder, the public comment period is open until Monday, July 22nd at 3 p.m. Just linked into the chat the information on our website that reinforces that information. We will also post this public meeting recording on our YouTube channel, which will be linked on the website at nhm-pa.org. And again, on the link here under the HOME-ARP supportive services link on our website, there are elements that you can access on how to provide public comment regarding New Hope's application for this program. There's really nothing else at this point, unless Eric or Sue, either of you have any final thoughts before we wrap up the meeting. All right, seeing none, then I think we will officially end the meeting. And again, we appreciate the opportunity to partner in the community and have access to resources that are going to enable New Hope to continue serving the folks who turn to us for help in a time of need. So thank you again.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.